Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. This came out August 13th, 93, directed by Adam Marcus. Um, so, uh, what was the last one? The last one we talked about was Jason Takes Manhattan, right? We last see him being disintegrated in toxic sludge in the sewers of Manhattan. And then somehow he's back at Camp Crystal Lake. Even though there's no more camp, the camp cabins were like all taken down, so it's just Crystal Lake. But like, how did he come back? How long has it been since Manhattan? No one knows. And it's not discussed. So this is interesting because we genre hop. So all of the Friday the 13th films are always horror action films. This is very much a horror fantasy film, which is interesting because I saw this movie once, many, many years ago when I was a kid. I don't really remember most of it. The best part is the ending, when you have Freddy Krueger's hand with the glove pop up out of the ground to take Jason's mask down, because they're both in hell at this point, technically, right? Because the last one was the final nightmare, and then this one here is the final Friday. So we got the two finals, and we got Freddy and Jason technically both in hell, I guess. It's a little wonky, these later stage movies of both franchises. So Jason is tricked into attempting to kill this woman at a lake house on Crystal Lake by the military. And it turns out this woman's an agent, and they set it all up, and they trapped him, and they blew him up to pieces. All his body parts get sent to a morgue in Youngstown, Ohio, for reasons unbeknownst to everyone. And so the mortician is doing, the autopsy, and then is like, realizes that this black viscous material is Jason's blood, and like his heart is 2 sizes too big. It's funny saying that, he's not the Grinch. And the heart starts pumping again, and then convinces the mortician to eat the heart to start a soul transfer. And this is when fantasy comes into play. So Jason, soul-wise, is jumping from person to person. He's transferring his soul from person to person throughout this town around Crystal Lake. And there's this bounty hunter named Duke, and he is at the town of Crystal Lake to try to kill Jason once and for all, to get his sum of $500,000. But then eventually the guy he made a deal with is soul transferred and dies. It turns out that the only way to kill Jason and to send him to hell is... Now, mind you, this movie's called Jason Goes to Hell. We don't actually see him in hell. We see him finally die and get sucked into the ground, but we don't actually see Jason Voorhees in Hades, in the underworld, in Tartarus itself. We do not see Jason in actual hell. So, it's the trip. How does Jason get to hell? It turns out the only way to kill Jason, or to make Jason reborn, is through a Voorhees woman. That there's only 2 women left that carry the Voorhees name. 3 if you technically count the little baby that was just born. You have Diana, who was then murdered. You have Jessica with the baby, and then the baby's dad / Jessica's ex, his name's Steven. So it's really the 2 of them at the end fighting Jason to get him to go to hell. And Duke apparently has this like knife that can change into a hell knife, when a dagger, excuse me, when a Voorhees woman takes the knife. So Jason's defeated, but then like this creature pops out of one of the officers, and like crawls into the dead corpse of Diana in order to be reborn into Jason again with the hockey mask attached to his face. But then like Steven has a machete, and just fights galore, and just black blood everywhere from any time Jason's new body gets shot or stabbed or sliced open or something. And so it's then Jessica then has the Voorhees hell knife or something, I don't know, and then stabs Jason, and then Steven does a true push, and then Jessica kicks the knife right into the chest cavity, and his soul just explodes, and all the lights flash, and all the hands from the underworld grab him and drag him down. And then we have Freddy's glove popping out and grabbing the hockey mask at the very end, pulling him down. So it's It's interesting. It brings fantasy lore into it, definitely, but like none of this was a thing in the other 7 films. So like the end of 6 is when things get wonky for the Friday the 13th film series, which is interesting because you would think that things would start getting wonky at the sequel. No, they didn't get the 4, 5, and 6. The Tommy Jarvis story arc was great, but like the end of 6 just gets a little wonky. Of well, really the beginning of 7 when that girl unleashes Jason with her telekinetic powers. I yeah, I would have liked to see Jason in actual hell, but like we didn't get it. But that's the title of the movie. And like the trailer, the poster has like flames everywhere and like this like creature snake going through it. So it's like, oh, demon, Jason. But like, is Jason a demon? Is he a zombie? What is Jason now? He started out as a kid who just drowned in a lake, and now we have this mashup of creature, which I don't really know the mythos on. It's kind of strange. It's very strange. Not kind of strange. It's very strange, but we're doing what we can. We're trying to figure this out. So, the next movie in our marathon is Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which is pretty creepy. Then we have Jason X, which takes place way in the future. So that's a fun one because it takes place on a spaceship. And I laugh because it's very entertaining. But, just for the record, this movie came out 93, right? The Final Friday came out in 1993 as a Freddy vs. Jason reference. We didn't get an actual Freddy vs. Jason until 2003. So 10 years later is when we actually got a Freddy vs. Jason movie, which is pretty neat, keeping the fans on their toes, much like how the Alien and Predator films always alluded to an Alien vs. Predator battle, especially in the comics, and then you got an Alien vs. Predator, and then you got a sequel, Alien vs. Predator Requiem, which was garbage, but we still got them. So, will there ever be another Freddy vs. Jason? Who knows? But, like, we are 15 movies into our marathon, 16 including Freddy vs. Jason, because I technically talked about that a long time ago. But yeah, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things left, and then we got spooky movies to talk about. We can do this. Mucho mahalo.